The Monday, August 24th, 2026 regular meeting of the Paris City Council is hereby called to order at 5:30 p.m. For the purpose of this meeting, there is a quorum of the council present. Agenda item number 2 and 3, invocation. Mayor Pro Tem Savage will deliver the invocation, and the City Council will lead the pledge. Please rise.
Shall we pray? Father God, we come to you today, Lord, thanking you for another day that was not promised. Lord, we ask that you help the city staff and the council, Lord, as we go about doing city business. Lord, let us be good stewards of the citizens' resources. And Lord, we ask that you also bless our first responders, Lord, whether it be firemen, police, EMS, or our frontline workers who are on the streets day to day. And Lord, please keep our military in your care, Lord. Bring them back home safely if it's your will, Lord. And Father, we ask that you keep the government on your shoulders, Lord, and let your will be done in the decisions that they make, Lord. And Father, we'll be careful to give you all the praise and all the glory, and it's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. All right, we will now move on to the Citizens Forum.
Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentations to no more than 2 minutes, and remarks must be limited to matters of city business. Speakers will not be allowed to cede speaking time to others. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city council members, or employees, including but not limited to claims in pending litigation, as well as individual personal appeals, are not appropriate for Citizens Forum. If necessary, the City Council may convene into executive session under Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code regarding any item on this agenda.
All right. I'll go ahead and open up the Citizens Forum. If there are any individuals that would like to come forward and state your name and record, we will go ahead and open it up. Anyone want to speak?
Yeah, hi. I'm a resident and homeowner in the city of Paris. Nearly 2 years ago.
Sorry, could you state your name and address?
I'm sorry?
Sorry, could you state your name and address for the record?
No, that's not necessary.
Okay.
No, do you think it is? Do you think it's relevant?
Part of our rules here.
Okay, but the meeting is governed by the Texas Open Meetings Act. It's
You
not
can go
required.
ahead, ma'am.
Okay.
Feel free.
This council was tasked with hiring a city manager nearly 2 years ago, and this is the original job posting for that posting. It says city manager salary $165,000 to $185,000 annually. Now, just to put that salary into perspective, the governor of Texas earns $153,000, so our city manager earns more than Greg Abbott does. Okay, and that's paid for by the taxpayers here. Now, it has back on this job posting desired qualifications, but it says this position requires a bachelor's degree in public administration, engineering, business administration, finance, marketing, or a closely related field, and a minimum of 10 years related professional experience in a comparable or larger organization. And when Rose Beverly was hired, the city put out a statement, and this was what it said. It said, Beverly comes to Paris with over 9 years of government leadership experience, not professional experience, but leadership experience. And I think it matters here. She says she earned a Bachelor's of Arts degree in psychology and sociology, graduating summa cum laude from the University of Arizona Global Campus. Now, Rose actually submitted her education credentials to the TCMA directory, this is the Texas City Management Association directory. She claims that she earned a BA in psychology in 2014. that she also got a minor that year. Okay, now I don't know how a person can have a major and a minor in the same
Time
topic.
has run out, and I'll give you about 10 more seconds to wrap it
All
up,
right.
please.
That school didn't exist in 2014. Okay, I think that her qualifications need to be verified. I think she should be required to submit her college transcripts to the city. Thank you.
Not a problem, thank you, and we'll make sure to do that.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was a different university that got taken over by that one, and I have no problem doing that. So thank you very much for your opinion, appreciate it. We will get that, no problem at all.
Is there anyone else that would like to come forward? Okay, if not, I will go ahead and close the citizens forum. We will now move on to the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are approved by a single action of the council with such approval applicable to all items appearing on the consent agenda. A council member may request any item to be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item. I will note, we do need to remove agenda item number 10 and place that into the regular agenda for discussion there. So just want to note that for the motion there. But is there anyone that would like to remove any other item? If not, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 10.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. We will go ahead and move on to agenda item number 10, staff.
Yes, this is an item that has been placed on the agenda before, and it's been carried over before. We received, this is an instance where someone's trying to buy a hangar with financing from a bank, and we received new documents from the bank this morning, and they're significantly different from what you have in your agenda packet. So I'd ask you to table this until the next meeting so that I can advise you accordingly.
With that being said, is there a motion?
I have a motion to table.
Okay, we've got a motion. Do I hear a second?
A second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. We will now move on to the regular agenda. Agenda item number 13, discuss and act on an ordinance adopting a budget for the ensuing fiscal period beginning October 1st, 2026 and ending September 30th of 2027. Staff, do you have a presentation?
I do. Just a moment while I find it.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Well, I don't need the PowerPoint for the first one. I'm sorry about that. Good evening, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. The City Council has received 3 presentations on this year's budget. And we haven't made any changes since the last presentation, so I'm going to keep my comments brief tonight to save some time. On August 10th, the City Council voted to postpone the adoption of the budget to this meeting to allow more time for public comment, and so we've done that. The attached ordinance provides funds for the 26-27 year by approving the budget and appropriating the funds included therein. The budget must be approved before we can adopt the 26 tax rate, and that needs to happen tonight. Section 102.007 of the Local Government Code requires that the budget ordinance be passed on a roll call vote. And we are requesting approval of the budget ordinance, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Marriott.
Thank you.
Council, any questions that we have for Mr. Marriott or Ms. Rogers or anyone else? If not, we'll go ahead and open the floor for any motion.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance adopting a budget for the fiscal period beginning October 1st, 2026 and ending September 30th, 2027.
Got a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion
You
carries.
need to do a roll call vote.
Okay. So we will go ahead and go down the line. Councilmember Atterbury?
Aye.
Okay. Councilmember Putnam?
Aye.
Councilmember DeWitt?
Aye.
Councilmember Liddell? Mayor Pro Tem Savage?
Aye.
And
Mayor, aye. All right, motion carries 6-0. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening again. The next item, I'm probably getting ahead of you here, so.
That's okay. Agenda item number 14, discuss and act on an ordinance ratifying property tax revenue increase reflected in the budget of 2026-2027 fiscal year budget. Mr. Marriott.
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the council. Attached is an ordinance ratifying the property tax revenue that increase that was included in the 26-27 budget. The increase in the property tax revenue is $3,070,357, or 24.5%. Local Government Code, Section 102.007, once again requires that this ordinance be passed in a roll call vote. And we are requesting approval of this ordinance, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much. Council, any questions? Similar format as the last one? If not, I'll go ahead and hear a motion.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance ratifying the property tax revenue increase reflected in the 2026-27 fiscal year budget.
Thank you. There's a motion. Do I hear a
Second.
motion in a second? We're going to go ahead and do a roll call, just to make sure that we do everything by the books here. So, Councilmember Advery.
Aye.
All right. Councilmember Putnam.
Aye.
Councilmember DeWitt. Aye. Councilmember Liddell. Mayor Pro Tem Savage.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. Motion carries 6-0. All right, we will now move on to agenda item number 15, conduct a public hearing on the proposed tax rate for the fiscal year 2026-2027. Mr. Marriott.
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. The proposed tax rate was discussed at the August 10th meeting. Chapter 26 of the state tax code requires the city hold a public hearing on its tax rate. The required notice was published in the Paris News on August 13th and is also prominently displayed on the city website. I've got a couple slides here. I'll keep it brief. This slide shows the three calculated rates and the proposed rate for our tax rates. The M&O revenues for the proposed rate are approximately $3 million higher than the no new revenue rate, and this amount approximates our budget shortfall for this year. So we're just trying to get in a position to break even at this point in time. The no new tax rate or no new revenue tax rate is the rate that would produce the same amount of property tax on the same properties that were assessed last year. This year, the no new revenue tax rate is 0.459755 per hundred of taxable value. Staff is recommending a rate of 0.57239 per hundred taxable value to arrive at the revenues that we put in the budget. This rate will allow the city to adopt a balanced budget as required by state law in the city chapter. This slide shows the impact on the average household. I know I've seen some comments on Facebook that the average household value is not right at $171,256, but that is the number that's provided by LCAT. The slide reflects the tax increase on that average value. You'll see that it comes down to an annual increase of $171.26, or about approximately 47 cents a day. It's important to note that this increase does not affect taxes for those people whose taxes are frozen. We want to make sure that's clarified. At this point in time, I will step aside should any members of the public wish to.
Thank you, Mr. Marriott. I will go ahead and open up the public hearing and ask for anyone wishing to speak about this item to please come forward. I'll go ahead and entertain anyone that would like to come. Please feel free.
Okay, I was looking at the proposed tax rate. If this tax rate goes through, the homeowners are going to be paying the highest tax rate that they've paid in the last 10 years at a time when property values have doubled. I mean, there's no question about it that the M&O portion of the tax rate has gone down. But that doesn't mean that this is necessarily the problem. I mean, I heard a lot of excuses being given last time, at the last meeting. I heard everything from the cost of fire engines to how few people we have on the street. But that's not what this is. This is about where the money is going. And when I'm looking at the budgets, I see the vast majority of the money going to 3 departments. And that, well, actually, majority of it is going to the police department and to the fire department. There is a massive increase in the police department budget between 2025 and 2026. And that's in the budget. And that was in the budget that was put out last year when Rose was here. So that was part of her budget. And there's a $1.8 million increase in what was allocated for the police department. Now, what I did was I simply went back 10 years. I went back to 2016. And I took any account. I don't need to look at all the accounts, okay? There's like 30, 35 accounts in the city. It's not necessary to look at all of them. I just look at the biggest ones. So I went back 10 years, and anything that had $1 million or more, I took that. And anything with one exception, and that was sanitation, because that was 0 at the time, but now it's like over $2 million. And I just tracked it over 10 years to see what was happening. And I can see where all of the money is going. Streets and highway, that's flat. I mean, that's flat. I'm looking right here at 2016. We had $1.4 million in there. Last year, it was only $1.45 million. And this year, what's proposed is going to be $1.6 million. When I look at these other budgets, Parks and Rec, it went from $1.1 million 10 years ago. Now it's $1.5 million. But when you want to see where the money really went, you look at police department. The police department budget 10 years ago was $6 million. Last year, it was $10.4 million, and now it's going to be $10.7 million. So when I looked at that and I look at, well, where is the money going? It's mostly going into wages and salaries. So when I heard this excuse about inflation, I'm saying, well, general inflation, like CPI, I'm thinking, you're talking about the super price index, you mean the cost of just everyday goods? That's not what this is. We're running out of money because a lot of money was given to the Paris Police Department last year, and we can see, and when I graphed this, I actually created a graph of this. Okay, I can see a hockey stick right here, a hockey stick forming right from the Paris Police Department. This is where the money is going. Now, if that's what you say that needs to be where what we need to put money into, well then fine. But we're being told, well, this is about inflation, okay, and I'm not buying that. I mean, yes, we did have a lot of inflation in CPI in the last few years, but it wasn't so much. I mean, home values have nearly doubled, okay? The cost of housing is what has been inflating, and with that has been inflating the amount that we've been paying. So I'm not necessarily buying that this tax increase is necessary. When you brought in, you hired a manager, and she has a lot of power to do a lot of different things. Okay, you don't necessarily have to do it this way. She's deciding, okay, this is how we want to allocate money. We're running out of money. We want to raise taxes. Well, money solves a lot of problems, doesn't it? If we just go to the people and ask for more money, well, then we can just give everybody what they want, and everything's good. But that's not what this is about. We pay a lot of money to our city manager to handle tough things, to do tough things. That means that sometimes departments don't get what they want. That means sometimes some departments get more or some departments get less. It means sometimes people get laid off. It means sometimes people have to take salary cuts. There are ways to balance a budget other than raising taxes, and right now, gas prices are high, grocery prices are high, people are struggling. This is unpopular. You've decided to go down this path. You've decided to put this out there and say, at a time when everybody's struggling, and I can see where a lot of money has been handed out to these departments. If this is the way you want to go, okay, well then, we'll see how things turn out with that. But, this is not something that absolutely must happen. There are other ways to balance the budget, and I don't know that those are seriously being considered. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? All right, seeing none, I will go ahead and close the public hearing. We will now move on to agenda item number 16, discuss and act on an ordinance fixing the tax rate and the tax levy and levying ad valorem taxes for the city of Paris for the year 2026 upon all taxable property within the city of Paris in conformity with the charter provisions and ordinances of the city. Mr. Marriott.
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council. Each year, we must adopt a property tax rate sufficient to balance the city budget. At the proposed rate, the average residential homestead will incur a $980.25 tax bill, which is an increase of $171.26 per year. The proposed rate will produce approximately $11,017,634 in M&O taxes and $4,117,850 in INS taxes at an estimated 97% collection rate. Tax Code Section 26.05B requires that this ordinance be passed in a roll call vote again. State law requires that at least 60% of the, State law requires that at least 60% of City Council vote in favor of the ordinance setting the property tax rate. If at least 60% of the City Council does not approve the proposed rate, then the rate would be set at the no new revenue rate. Staff requests approval of the ordinance, approving the 57.239 cent proposed rate, and we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Marriott, do you have the specific motion language in your memo?
I do not believe so. You do? I don't have my memo in front of me, so.
Perfect, thank you. I just want to make sure that we're good, so, sorry, Mr. Marriott, do you have anything else?
No, no, sir.
Okay, not a problem. Council, is there any discussion, any questions that we have for Mr. Marriott, Ms. Rogers, or anyone else?
I don't have any.
If not, I want to make sure that the motion that is made has to reflect this, if this is what council sees fit. I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.572390, which is effectively a 21.16% increase in the tax rate. That's highlighted in our agenda, and by the provisions, we have to have that as the motion if this is what is wanted.
I'm gonna second what you just said, so you made the motion.
I'll go ahead and made the motion. Okay, second. Now, obviously, we have to go through the roll call again, so I'm just going to go down the line and just state if you're for or against. Councilmember Atterbury.
Aye.
Councilmember Putnam.
Aye.
Councilmember DeWitt.
Aye.
Councilmember Liddell.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Savage.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you
so much.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Now finally getting into the easy stuff. Agenda item number 17, receive July financial reports and discuss. Mr. Marriott.
Okay, good evening again, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the City Council. Tonight we'll be going through the July financial reports. I'll try to keep my comments brief. Year-to-date revenues through July were 87% of the budget and grew by $357,225 from last year. Year-to-date property tax collections were at 96% of the budget and grew by $442,700 from last year. Sales tax collections were 85% of the budget and grew by $326,000 from last year. Hot taxes are 98% of the budget, but fell by $110,000 from last year. EMS fees are 77% of the budget and fell by $701,000 from last year. And interest revenues are 90% of the budget and grew by 66,740 from last year. This graph shows the breakout of our revenues. You can see that property taxes make up 29% of our revenues year-to-date, and sales tax makes up 30%. EMS revenues are 12%, and everything else is significantly less than that. General fund expenditures, overall expenditures totaled $28.3 million through July 31st, or 72% of the budget. This is an increase of approximately $893,000 or 3% from last year. Salary and benefit expenditures increased over last year by approximately $1,150,000 or 5.6%, so that drives all of the increase. This pie chart breaks out general fund expenditures by function. You'll see that public safety makes up 60.51% of year-to-date expenditures, obviously the largest part of the budget. General government is 13.08%, and everything else is less than that. As far as general fund results, currently the general fund has cash and investments available to cover 338 days of expenditures. This number has declined by 34 days since April and should continue to decline throughout the year because we won't be collecting a whole lot of property taxes. By year end, we estimate that this number will fall to 235 days. Now we'll move on to the water fund. Year-to-date revenues for the water fund total approximately $11.9 million or 54% of the budget. As we've discussed before, that number includes a negative transfer amounts, $5.7 million. So without that, revenues are actually $17.6 million or 79.3% of the budget. Water fund expenditures total approximately $11.4 million or 51% of the budget. And that's another thing where the transfers is affecting that as well, because we transfer money for debt service, but we budget it in an actual debt service line item. So last July expenditures for the water fund totaled $10.8 million, so about $600,000 less. This is the expenses by department. You'll see that water and sewer billing and collections are 24%. Water production is 30%. Wastewater treatment is 22% of the budget, or the year-to-date, and everything else falls after that. We'll move on to the airport fund now. Airport fund revenues totaled $796,000, or 69% of the budget. Current year revenues are approximately $33,000 more than last year's revenues through July. Fuel sales revenues decreased from last year by approximately $56,000. However, that was offset by ramp grant revenues, which increased by approximately $85,000. Airport fund expenditures totaled approximately $812,000 through July. Expenditures increased by approximately $49,000, and that was driven by set increases in salaries and benefits. Staffing, the general fund has a total of 223 full-time employees, 53 part-time employees, and 26 vacancies. This does not reflect staffing cuts that were included in the 26-27 budget. The water fund had a total of 67 full-time employees, 3 part-timers, and 8 vacancies. The airport fund has a total of 3 full-time employees and 5 part-time employees. Then we'll go over investments briefly. Excluding the PEDC, the city's ending book value of cash and investments totals approximately $95 million. You have to remember that includes the project money for the sewer project. So a large part of that is in that. It also includes all of our reserves. So Diversification, we've got approximately 67% of our investments in the local government investment pool. We've got 26% in a money market, which is just our checking account. We've got 4% in treasuries and 3% in agencies. Liquidity, approximately 72% of our investments are, or cash and investments, I should say, have a maturity of 1 month or less. And then 3% is 1 to 3 months, and then it just goes up from there. Our weighted average maturity is, the target is 730 days or less. Ours is 139 days, 12-day increase from June. The city had an average yield of 3.87%, and this is in line with the benchmark average treasury yield. That's all I have. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Yes, I had a quick question. I kind of wanted to start off. Could we go back to, I want to say, the beginning of the deck, if you don't mind? I want to say that might have been maybe slide 4. Let's look back here.
You can go on to the front side.
Yes. Keep going.
Expenditures by function.
Keep going. I think it was where we had the increase in wages by 5-point-something%. Right there. I think it was, go back.
Wages should be up here.
There we go. There we go. The second line, their salary and benefit expenditures increased over the last year by approximately 1.15 million, or 5.6%. That is because of the stipends, is that correct?
That's the biggest driver, yes.
That's what I want to make sure is not misconstrued. Those stipends were given for a reason, okay? We were markedly behind regionally. We're losing, we're bleeding out. And so it took courage to go ahead and put those stipends together to be able to fund that, so that way we have the help that we need. So I want to make sure, for the record, that that is stated and that is presented, that those stipends were presented for the safety and security of our community.
Yes, we were trying to stop the bleeding as far as staffing
Thank you.
changes.
Want to make sure that is 100% clear. And then the other thing that I wanted to make sure of, let's see here. Nope, I think that's really about it. I just wanted to make sure that that was highlighted and that was something that was presented. And
I'll try to remember to do that in the
no,
future.
you're fine. And that's not on you. I just wanted to make sure that we had everything correct and all was good, so.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyone else have any other questions?
This is just for me. On the hot tax, didn't you say the hot tax revenue for this year fell a little?
Yes.
What was the main driver for that? Do you know?
Myra, do you have any comments on that? No. I'm not sure. I know we found one hotel today that 2 quarters they were down. They had misreported by 32,000, so that's part of it. So that would have brought the decrease down to closer to 60,000. So, I mean, I'm happy to take a look at it.
I'm sure the mayor can answer that for me.
I could, if I may. Okay. I know from a business perspective, just internally, I know we've seen a softening of the market big time. Just like everything else in the world right now, it's been a soft market and it's been a tough year. Just like everyone else is facing. But
Sure.
Travel's been soft globally, and we've seen that here locally for sure. So,
Okay.
yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, sir. We will now move on to agenda item number 18, receive and discuss approved program of works and budgets for Love Civic Center and Visitors and Convention Council. The great Mr. Paul Allen. Come on down, sir.
No, sir, I do not. Let's talk hot tax.
There you go.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council, I'm glad to be here tonight to discuss our Visitors and Convention Council, and the Love Civic Center. First, want to start off saying I have an amazing staff that I'm very appreciative of, and excuse me, I have very supportive boards on both of those entities. Also would like to say I appreciate the partnerships that we have had with the city. Kind of going to go through our program of work first, if you don't mind. And I want to start with Lake Crook. Partnered up with the boat ramp out there and have really seen a significant interest in Lake Crook as of late. This fiscal year, we will have had 3 boat racing events, 3 jet ski events, a bullfighting event. This weekend, we're going to have another jet ski event along with a BMX event. So the number of events at Lake Crook is continuing to increase. I went out today to take some pictures and do some videos to send to some folks that were coming this weekend. There was a gentleman out there that was doing some work, and he said, Paul, I hadn't been out here in 20 years, and he's lived here all of his life. And he said, this place is amazing. I had no idea this lake looked like that. So the people that are involved in boat racing, jet ski racing, and even fishing have noticed Lake Crook, and they've made Paris a destination. So I thank you for that, and I appreciate the continued work with that. Spent a lot of time with Bill O'Ranger, spent a lot of time with Michael, and of course, Ed Wayne, helping get ready for these events and things like that. Partnered up with First Street. Very excited to see what that new venue is going to hold. I'm ready to throw an event there and get folks into Paris and see what we have. We are involved in the lighting project downtown. We are excited to be a part of that. We think that that is something that is very necessary to brighten Paris. I can tell you from a promoter standpoint, the 903 concerts would not be the same without them. They would not be the same without them. So we are continually excited to partner up with those things. For the Love Civic Center, this fiscal year, we have spent a huge focus on the landscaping out in front. We've had since the renovation, it has been kind of hit and miss on how things look when you walk in. And so we've really focused very hard on getting that presentable to match up the renovations that are inside. I want to thank Bratcher's Nursery for partnering up with us and getting that where it needs to be. And we also have a new projected project, the Eiffel Tower. We know that the Eiffel Tower is a destination. That is a fact. That is a fact. And when you go and you look at that Eiffel Tower, which most of us in this room do not go to the Eiffel Tower, we do not look at everything around the Eiffel Tower, we know that the tower's there. But when you look at it, we need to match the landscaping around that tower that matches the excitement of these thousands and thousands of people that are coming into this town to see it. So I have visited with Rose about this. My board has approved to move forward with this, and so we are going to pursue getting a watering system and new landscaping around the tower to match that enthusiasm, that excitement for that. And I will stay in close contact with Rose, and if any of you would like to be involved in that, be more than welcome to invite you to be a part of that. So that's something we're very excited about. The other thing that we're looking at with the tower, the lighting on the tower is becoming obsolete. That is the original lighting that was put on there, and the cost to replace that lighting is extremely expensive. And so we're going to look at different avenues and what's available in this fiscal year to look at what can we do to upgrade that system that matches like LED and matches everything that is current with today's time. So that's kind of our program of work with the VCC. In your program of work, you see a lot of other different things, but those are some of the things that I wanted to highlight. Are there any questions about those things? Be more than happy to answer you.
I've just got one, Paul. Well, two.
Yeah.
First, did Shaq visit the tower while he was down here this past weekend? Did Shaquille O'Neal visit the tower while he was here this weekend?
He did not. If I'd have seen him, I would have taken him there.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah, missed opportunity. But so, how can you speak to how people can go to and see what's going on, what the events for next month or the month after that? And I know with First Street coming on, and there'll probably be a lot of events there.
Right.
So even I know y'all advertise for personal events as well, not just what y'all are sponsoring.
Visit Paris, Texas Facebook page and its website. We promote all events that are taking place in Paris and Lamar County. If you're having an event, you can go onto that website and you can put your event there as well, so everyone can go to that website and see the current events that are listed. But this is it. If you don't put it on there, we may not know about it.
Okay, thank you.
Visit Paris, Texas. Any other questions? Okay. Let's start with our budget. And it was kind of, I'm glad to hear of a little short change with a hotel not getting the hot tax paid on time. We got our very last check today. And with that last check, we're looking at about $9,000 less than we budgeted. So to hit that we budgeted $1 million for last year, and we came in at $991. So with that, I think we're going to be hitting very close to where we had predicted and where we had estimated. And once again, I would like to, for the new council members that are here, all of the funds that we are talking about tonight with this, they are restricted. They are specifically geared towards tourism, heads in beds, people coming to Paris, spending the night, enjoying everything about Paris. So the money that we're talking about can't be used anywhere else. It is focused strictly on tourism, okay? So with our VCC budget, we're going to be very similar to what we were last year. We're going to budget $1 million once again. We're going to have an increase in our trolley with the addition of our new trolley that we bought this fiscal year. We have seen an uptick in people wanting it, and I really expect a lot during the Christmas holidays. Our other income, souvenir sales, we're going to lower that a little bit because we have some local businesses that have a lot of souvenirs there. So when they come into the chamber, we've got some stuff there, but we push them out to our local businesses. So we're going to be a little less for that. Timber's going to remain the same as well. So our Tour de Paris income, we're going to keep that the same. So our total income for the VCC for next fiscal year is going to be $1,068,500. Our expenses, there is not a whole lot of change in our expenses as well. If you will look down, I'm not sure what you have, but I'm going to touch on some of the things that I feel as though you need to be aware of and you may need to know. So from that $1 million that we budget for the Visitors and Convention Council, we take half of that at this point and we send that to the Civic Center. So the Civic Center is run on hot money as well. Our communications is going to drop down a little bit. Our payroll expenses, what we did with the employees of the VCC and the Civic Center, we gave them a 4% increase in salary. Marketing and advertising, what we have to do, and this is in the statute, we have to use 10% of our $1 million for marketing. So we are going to have $100,000 earmarked for marketing Paris, marketing events, marketing everything about Paris, Texas. Audits and bookkeeping stay the same, but those are questionable. You know, we budget for that now. It's kind of like the expenses for gas, electricity, those kinds of things. Those are something that you can budget for, but you never know what's going to happen. Going to lower our expenses a little bit for Tour de Paris down to $28,000. Lamar County Days in Austin, you see that we're going to budget $6,000 We're going to budget $6,000 for that, and I can give you the dates for that. It's February the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, if anyone is interested in going. What we've done with the boat races, even though we are budgeting for boat races next year, the boat racing community is kind of in a turmoil. And I'm still in contact with different groups of people that are in the boat racing world, and something's going to get worked out. I just don't know what yet. Events, promotion, and funding, we're going to do $62,000, and that is when someone brings an event to town that's going to put heads in beds. They come in, they fill out a form, and they qualify if they put in at least 15 if they have at least 15 room nights. Trolley driver, we're going to increase that with the increased use. Chamber management is $50,000. Executive management is $15,000. That is the chamber overseeing those two entities that you'll see that on the Civic Center as well. You will also see towards the bottom, we line item a lot of our events, and what that means is an event that is coming in that has a history of coming in, or if you have someone like the boat races that are coming in, they can't fill out a form that we have at the VCC because that form only maxes out at $2,500. If we only gave the boat races $2,500, they wouldn't come because they have way too many expenses than the $2,500. So we have different line items for certain events. As you can see, I'll be glad to answer any questions for that as well. So our total expense is $1,068,303, which leaves us a balance of plus $197. Be glad to entertain any questions about the VCC, anything.
With your budget of $100,000 for marketing and advertising, what specifically are y'all brainstorming for that? Is it just the events or something that's just Paris focused?
Right now, we are spending quite a bit of our marketing money with the initiative that's going around right now, Visit Paris Without a Passport. Hopefully you've heard about that.
Yeah, I saw that.
And we are sending that information and putting those videos in those news feeds. We're paying for ads that are outside of the city of Paris, that are 100 miles away, and so people in other areas are seeing that. And you always wonder how that's going based on the number of passports you see or things like that. But when you walk around and you talk to some of these businesses that have that, they're running out of passports. So it's things like that, not just promoting events or things like that. We want to promote Paris.
Outside, yeah.
Okay?
I think the biggest thing we hear is we miss the broken bow traffic sometimes.
Yes, ma'am.
So, we see the cars on 195 and 271 and any of that's going to Oklahoma, we want to capture, so. And I know you're on it.
I'm in total agreement. I'm in total agreement. Out at the Eiffel Tower, we do have our logos. We have our QR codes that take you straight to Visit Paris. I will say that and I will say this, Placer is a huge part of what we do, and I hope that we can continue to use that, keep that partnership with you on that. But I look at it pretty regular. With different things in Paris, and even can run reports for businesses and things like that. But there is a much better presence for people that are coming downtown and then going to the tower than it is going to the tower and then coming downtown or going to shop, which that's changed. That's changed a little bit. But the number, it's kind of funny. The two places that people are before they come to the Eiffel Tower is the Buc-ee's in Melissa and the Buc-ee's in Royce City. That's where they are. So I've had conversations about putting billboards up right past Buc-ee's, but they are expensive being in that location. So, yes, sir.
I had a quick question. I'm glad you mentioned Placer. I've seen folks, I don't think a lot of people understand what Placer
don't?
is. And it's frustrating, but honestly, I didn't know either until I got more involved in understanding more with Chamber. Hey, what is this tool that they're using?
Right.
Could you give us a little bit more information for the people who are watching and that may be in the crowd that don't know what Placer is and why you advocate for that tool?
I do, and I've also been asked to do a presentation upcoming in an upcoming meeting that I've got because people don't understand it. So you use Placer for multiple different things. And I will just use 903 concerts as an example, okay? Because it was so valuable to us during that time just to see. So what I do is I can go on to Placer, I can draw a map around the square and down Clarksville Street only. And I can highlight that area and color in that area, and I can put in the time frame. I want to check that time from 5:30 till 11 o'clock. And so once you push that, then it generates this report, and it tells you how many people are in that area from 5:30 to 11 o'clock. What it does is it doesn't track you personally, but what it does, if you've got a cell phone, it counts you. All right? So when you see that, you may see at the top where it's visitors, which means I may come back more than once to 903, so I would be considered a visitor, but if I'm considered a visit, I'm only there one time. So you get multiple types of information when you look at the numbers. Now, what it does from there is I go down and I look at where were they before they came to 903, and where did they go after 903? Now, it didn't say that you went home. It says that you ate at this restaurant or you were at this store before you came to 903, and after you left, you went to Sonic or you went to Brahms, and it tells you how many people or a percentage of that number went to these different locations. Then you scroll down a little farther, hit a button, and it tells you the percentage of people that spent the night at a hotel, and it lists the hotels for you. So it's a very valuable tool in looking at economic impact for an event. For example, boat races and jet ski races, depending on what kind of event you have, the economic impact, because I always look at where did these people shop. Now, I know we're talking about hot tax and we're talking about heads and beds, but in the back of our mind, we're also thinking they're spending money. They're spending money in our restaurants, they're spending money at Walmart, at all these different locations, and it gives you a report of where they spent their money. And there's an added feature to Placer that we don't have because we're not going to pay that amount of money, but you can also do estimated amount of money spent. But we don't have that tool yet. So
I appreciate that.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of folks that get scared about AI and things like that, but that's a great tool. I think I've seen it in action, and as you guys had started to bring it into the community.
Right.
And boy, there's a wealth of knowledge there that could really help us to kind of understand, hey, how can we help some of these businesses in our community? And so really it's more of a positive than a detractor. So I just wanted to kind of put that
Well, one
put
of the
that out
things
there.
that I like about it, there's a place on there where you can, once you have an event, you can click on a map and it will heat map every area that people come from. So I know when we had our boat races, I clicked on the map and blew it up, and you see the heat up in Nebraska, you see the heat in Colorado, from Arizona, and then what you do is you can match it up with zip codes that are listed, and it matches up with what both reports are saying. So
Very cool.
you can spend some time in Placer, I can tell you.
That's awesome.
Okay, let's go to the Love Civic Center. Once again, the $500,000 is transferred into the Love Civic Center. Our rent is continually going up, which is great. Our RV hookups are continually increasing. We've talked about looking at increasing the number of full hookups that we out there, but that is very expensive too. So that's kind of one of our things that we would like to pursue as well out there. Our expenses, once again, you see a 4% increase in our salaries for those people out there. We got $5,000 for marketing this as the place to hold your event. Water and electricity, our utilities, we've got them at $82,000, and that's an increase. Building maintenance and supplies, you never know, but you always want to be careful with anything that can happen at the Love Civic Center because there's so many moving parts out there. And you can see closer down to the bottom where we actually are budgeting for heat pumps. And because of that, we were able to replace one this year, and that was around $20,000. So it's very expensive, so we are planning on, when an AC goes out, we are planning on replacing those things with that and not be surprised. Everything else is pretty standard. But I will entertain, well, we're going to lower our furniture and fixtures because, we bought new tables and all that kind of stuff that we needed desperately. We're not in need of that much furniture now. We did just purchase a brand new stage for the Civic Center because that stage was the one that was there when it was built. It's bulky, it's heavy, it needed to be replaced. So we've got that ordered right now out of this year's budget. But with that said, I do want to say this. We always set aside for capital improvements, just like when we start this project at the tower, we've got money allotted for a project to start out there. And so we're going to have that at $30,894 as well. So our total income is $610,700. And our total expense is $579,806, with $30,894 going into capital improvements.
Council, anyone have any questions for Mr. Allen? Mr. Allen, I just want to say I really appreciate all that you guys do, and I know our council, we see it, we appreciate it, our staff appreciates it, and I know you guys have had a great relationship in building even further. And I just want to say thank you for all that you guys do at the Chamber to help support small business and really continue to grow our community. Now is the time that we need it, and you guys are executing on all cylinders, and I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Looking forward to salsa night.
Yeah, oh yeah. There you go. All right. Well, we will now move on to agenda item number 19, receive presentation from EMS about whole blood donation. Assistant Chief, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing well.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, I'm here tonight to share with you an exciting update in our ability to take care of trauma patients in Paris and Lamar County, and that is our upcoming pre-hospital blood transfusion program. So around a couple of years now, we've been working on this program. Around 2024, we started seeing some data coming out about how well patients were doing after pre-hospital blood transfusion around the state and across the country. So we kind of started taking steps here locally to try to put that into place, small steps. In around 2025, a group from the Governor's EMS and Trauma Advisory Council went to state legislature asking for $4 million to implement a statewide pre-hospital blood program. They did so well that they received $10 million. So now what we've been doing for the last 2 years is trying to merge those two programs together, what we had started and then what they have for us as well. So when you think about major bleeding and you think about emergency medicine as a whole, there's kind of an old saying that says if you take it down to its simplest form, basically you can say air goes in and out, blood goes around and around. Anything other than that is bad, right? And we need to fix it. Blood carries oxygen. Without that oxygen to our tissues, they start to die, and ultimately the patient dies. Some quick numbers for you from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Severe bleeding is the #1 cause of death in trauma patients. Someone can bleed to death in as little as 5 minutes, and then for every minute of a delay in blood transfusion for a patient that's actively bleeding is an 11% increase in death. So that's the big one that we want to pay attention to there, is that every minute that goes by is 11% increase. So we think about taking EMS, we think about taking the patient to the hospital, but what I want us to do is think about taking the hospital to the patient. We're not trying to replace the hospital, but what we are trying to do is replace those minutes from the time of injury and active bleeding to the time that that patient gets blood. And if we can flip those two and bring blood to the patient, we can increase their chances of survival. So why this matters here in Lamar County is we have 930 square miles. There are places in this county that are more than 30 miles drive to a hospital, any hospital, and more than 124 miles to a level 1 trauma center. So it may take 30, 35, 40 minutes to get a patient to a hospital before they can get a blood transfusion. We can cut that time down. What does blood in the field look like? So there's just not enough blood to go around and not enough money to go around to put a unit of blood on every ambulance that we have. We just couldn't do that. So what we're looking at is a single unit deployment model. This vehicle on your left is our medical command unit that is staffed every day with our deputy chief. And then on the far right, that big brown box is called a Delta APRU, and that is it's an autonomous portable refrigeration unit. It's a military-grade blood refrigerator that will be in that unit. That unit then will respond to any emergencies along with an ambulance and arrive hopefully at the same time that a patient might need a blood transfusion. That would include traumatic injury, hemorrhage patients, motor vehicle accidents, obstetrical bleeding, or GI bleeding. Along with that comes a software that allows us to monitor the temperature of that unit and the blood that's in that unit at all times. These are a couple of snippets that you can see. This is actually from our software that we've been using and practicing with for several months now. And then on the right is TempStick, which is a secondary backup system that allows us to monitor temperature as well, just in case the first system fails. And then we also, part of that software allows us to track each unit of blood as it comes into our system, when it's transfused to a patient or when it's returned back to the blood bank. So not every patient that is involved in a trauma or has bleeding will get blood products. It is specifically based on patient assessment, evidence that they're having internal, external hemorrhage, and then they have to meet specific medical protocol criteria based on their condition and their vital signs before they get a blood transfusion, and then they'll get that while they're being transported to the hospital. Blood is a high risk, but also a high value product. So we've built multiple layers of accountability kind of into this system. First, from the very beginning, the program was implemented with physician medical director oversight. Dr. Bertrand has been involved since the very beginning with written medical protocols and then also policies surrounding how we handle the blood, the temperature of the blood, and then tracking of the blood units. Also expiration management, and then every patient that receives a blood transfusion will get a 100% quality assurance review by the medical director. They'll go over that chart to make sure that all the policies were followed and that the correct patients are getting the correct treatments. We've done a lot of training. All of our command staff has been trained. Our command staff we're kind of calling the keepers of the blood, since it will be in their vehicle and in their possession. They've had extensive training in blood product handling, temperature management, expiration, and rotation of blood products. All staff have been trained on patient selection, the equipment that's going to be used to transfuse blood products, administration procedures, the documentation of the blood transfusion, which is extremely important, and then ongoing competency and quality assurance. Each year, they'll be checked off on this process, again, to make sure that they're competent. The documentation is a big thing. We have to be able to look back and see what blood products we received and what units specifically were given to what patients, even possibly years later in case there's any kind of problems with any of the products. So we're not just throwing blood on an ambulance, we're building a system kind of around it. Just a couple pictures here. On the left is Dr. Bertrand training some of our crews on the blood protocol. In the middle there, we're looking at our Y-set tubing and our APR unit, and then on the right, they are practicing using our blood warmer, which is that small device on the table there that can take that blood from about 35 degrees Fahrenheit to 100.4 degrees like that. It enters in one side and out the other, and it's warmed and ready to go into the patient. The city and EMS obviously have been involved in this process, but this is a big community effort that takes a lot of collaboration. No one EMS department can just put this in place. We've had a lot of collaboration with Best EMS, which is our medical direction team, and Dr. Bertrand. We went with them October of 2025. We moved to Best EMS for medical direction. And one of the most beneficial things that I've seen is we're part of a system now. So there are 30 or more agencies that are part of this system. I've been able to call them and say, what did you guys do with this? Or give me some help on this. Or what about a policy for this? And we kind of share everything. It's made the process a lot easier. The funding comes through Department of State Health Services through NETRAC. And NETRAC is our regional advisory council here in Northeast Texas. Brad Cecil is the executive director. He's been extremely helpful as far as funding for equipment, policies. He talks with other RACs. What are you guys doing to implement your program? And also, we're sharing our stuff with him so that later, if other agencies come through NETRAC to put in a program, they'll have kind of a playbook to go by. Carter Blood Care has been great for us. That will be our blood provider. They came through, inspected all of our equipment, all of our policies to make sure that we are compliant with federal policies for any agency that's going to be transfusing blood products. And then Paris Regional Health, we've been in talks with them about using different blood products at their hospital so that they can help us to rotate blood products with them and not waste product. This is a great advancement for the patients, but a good thing about it too is it comes at a pretty low cost to the taxpayers. And that's because of this statewide program and then also because of NETRAC. You can look on the right there and kind of see what the costs have been for different parts of the program. And a total startup cost so far of about $22,381. Of that, the City of Paris has spent $2,376. So the majority of the funding of this program is coming from other sources. There will be an ongoing cost for the blood products, but NETRAC and Department of State Health Services are continuing to support that as long as the project is funded and budgeted. So what changes for the patient? Basically, earlier treatment, better chance of survival, advanced care closer to the point of injury, and big city medicine close to home. Okay. This is the kind of thing that a lot of the times is reserved for much larger systems, but we're able to get it out here, I think, where it really matters and where we need it the most. This presentation is about blood and about pre-hospital blood, but I just want you guys to be aware that this is kind of just another spoke in the wheel, another tool in our toolbox that we're using to increase the amount of care that we're able to give our citizens and improve the amount of care we're able to give them. Other tools we're using, high-performance CPR program, our point-of-care ultrasound, where we're doing ultrasound in the field, advanced airway management devices, mechanical ventilators on all of our ambulances, medication pumps on all of our ambulances. We have a pre-hospital sepsis and antibiotic protocol, which is another thing that's usually reserved for hospital only. And then advanced surgical interventions for traumatic arrests. Next steps we're looking at, we've done all of our training, but we still need to do a couple of dry runs from start to finish. Identification of the patient that needs the blood transfusion, practice of the blood transfusion, practice of documentation, handoff of that patient to the hospital, and so on. Also, we're running into some product availability things that we're having to work out right now still with Carter Blood Care, so that's kind of got us in a holding pattern for now, but I did get a call this morning that we may be a little closer than what we thought, which is good news. Also, I'll be looking for the public's help and our staff's help and you guys' help. Once we start this program, we will have to have quarterly blood drives to help kind of drive the program. If we're using more blood, we have to collect more blood. So I'll be reaching out to all you guys for these blood drives, and hopefully we can get some more blood donations. Once all this is kind of put to bed, we'll get a go live date, and we're hoping for mid-September to October 1st. So our end goal basically is to give our paramedics every tool possible to treat patients in the field and improve their chance of survival. And this blood program hopefully will do that for us. Just want to kind of end by saying I'm proud to work for the city. I'm proud to be part of the EMS department, and I'm even more proud of the men and women who work every day on the ambulance to make a difference in somebody's life. We can't do any of this without those guys out there making the calls. So with that, I'll take any questions that you guys have.
Council, any questions?
Well, Hey, man, I'm getting over here getting pumped. I'm excited. I'm excited about this program and the things that y'all offer, and I know it's a team. I know it's a team effort, but I was just sitting there thinking, every time you present something, it's always an effective, rational process, and it's good for our citizens. And I wish everybody could see this, and I hope we can put this in some kind of a small cartoon like John did, and put it out there, because our citizens, you know, if they're not at city council meetings, they don't get to see and hear about all the effective things that all of you are doing. That's why I always pray for you guys, because y'all are behind the scenes thinking. You're not just doing, you're not just responding, you're thinking about how to make lives better, how to save lives. And this is a great tool to I guarantee you it's going to save some lives.
Absolutely.
It's going to save some lives. So I appreciate everything that y'all are doing. But I have a question, and I'm just asking a question for my education.
Yes, sir.
As far as the rotation of blood, is there, how long is the expiration, or what is the expiration of a packet of blood?
So it depends on what product we're able to get. Our goal is to get whole blood, which if you think about, anyone thinks of blood, they think of whole blood, which is blood out of your arm that gets packaged up and is given to someone else. That is the goal, but that's not really readily available. It's in a shorter supply than what is called packed red cells, where they take blood and break it up into different things. But whole blood is about 35 days. If we can get a rotation center to work with us, a hospital to work with us, we would keep that blood on the ambulance until it has about 14 days left on it. Then it would be taken back to Carter. They would check all of our records to make sure everything stayed at temp and everything was good. And then they would send it to a hospital to be used there if we don't use it. So it stays with us till about 14 days on it.
You answered about 3 questions there, because I was going in the line and you got it. So yeah, I was just wanting to make sure, you know, that in this process, nothing was wasted. There's a rotation, because I know the hospitals will use it a lot sooner. So I was just trying to make sure that that was the process and I understood it right. But yeah, appreciate everything that y'all are doing.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Anyone else?
Is that unit going to be available 24/7, that blood unit, or are you going to do it, you know, spaced out? Or
It should be available 24/7, but because we will only have one unit, if that unit gets used, then there will be a point in time where we're having to wait on another unit to get here. And according to Carter, depending on where it comes out of, if it comes out of Sherman, it could be an hour to 2 hours. If it comes out of Bedford, it could be a little bit longer than that. So there may be a little bit of a gap there. If we can get enough usage, maybe we can get to the point where we have 2 units and we can rotate those out. But starting out, it would be just 1 unit, yes, sir.
I know that there's some people watching at home, but I know you have an awesome team back there that's been here to cheer you on for your presentation, and you guys are heroes in our community. We really appreciate that, and just want you to know how much that we all as citizens appreciate that, and we don't know it until we have to use your services, right? So thank you for all that y'all do, and this council's here to support you guys. Our staff, fellow staff members are here to support, and we appreciate you guys.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And like you said, the public sees an ambulance, they see an ambulance. They think an ambulance is an ambulance is an ambulance is an ambulance. But behind that ambulance, in that ambulance, are a lot of good people here in Paris and Lamar County that care about their neighbors, and they do a great job. So,
Sir, well, thank you so much.
thank you.
All right. We will now move on to agenda item number 20, and brace your ears because this is a long one. Discuss, conduct a public hearing, and act on an ordinance amending zoning ordinance number 1710 to establish the MH Manufactured Housing District, amending section 3-100 zoning districts established, amending the official land use matrix to allow individual HUD code manufactured homes in the MH district and the SF3 one-family dwelling district, established district, and supplemental development standards, amending Chapter 4, Section 4.08.003, allowable locations for manufactured homes and mobile homes, to remove the prohibition against authorized individual HUD code manufactured homes, expressly preserving the existing regulations for manufactured home parks, manufactured home subdivisions, recreational vehicles, trailers, and other special vehicles, providing a repealer clause, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, providing a penalty clause, and providing an effective date.
I think you just read the whole thing.
Mr. McGee.
Mayor Pro Tem, council members. Yes, this is last year, Senate Bill 785 came in. It's kind of put us on a clock to get this taken care of. We had previously prepared a broader proposal with a development standards manual that would encompass manufactured home parks, all that. Because of the time constraint, and with the future adoption of the Paris Development Code, we kind of shortened this up and brought it up to specifically address some of the issues so we'd be in compliance with the state bill. So the proposed ordinances establishes the manufactured housing district as an individual lot residential district. It also creates a new land use matrix for the dwelling manufactured home and permits the use by right in MH and SF3. No property is automatically rezoned MH. Property may receive the new designation only through the zoning amendment process required by state law and zoning ordinances. And then because the existing section 4.8.003 prohibits freestanding manufactured homes, the ordinance, we're recommending an amendment to that ordinance to very limited, just to eliminate that. The whole rest of the ordinance will stay in place until the adoption of the Paris Development Code. There is no real fiscal impact. Everything on this is going to be rolled in with regular permitting and inspections and stuff like that. So the Planning and Zoning Commission did hear this, and it was approved, and we would recommend also approval. And I can answer any questions if you had them on this subject. I know there's a lot of other information in here, but.
Any questions before we open the public hearing?
So just to clarify for people watching, so in basic terms, what does if we amend this zoning ordinance, what does that allow?
What this would allow, someone had some property that they wanted to rezone to MH district. As long as it fit with our comprehensive plan or future land use map, they could rezone, a normal zoning process that you'd go and rezone to a manufactured home, and then they could put a manufactured home there. They could also put it in SF3 according to SF3 standards with meeting all the other SF3 zoning ordinances and with standards. So that's what the P plus, or the little P asterisk, which will be P plus at the end, is like some skirting standards and stuff to make the manufactured home look more like, these are not, manufactured homes nowadays are not your traditional mobile homes from the past. There's a lot of different, as a matter of fact, just to be honest, FHA, HUD, all this stuff, it will not be long within the next 4 or 5 years where manufactured homes are going to be just like modular homes. We won't be able to, if you can put a stick framed home there, you can put them, the state will say, and the feds will say, you have to allow a manufactured home there. So this is getting us, we're addressing all that in the PDC, but this is getting the essentials in right now so that we're in compliance with the state law. If we don't get this in, then they'll be allowed anywhere. We won't be able to.
Right.
You know.
I just
So.
want to clear that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? All right, if not, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing and ask anyone wishing to speak about this item to please come forward at this time.
Mayor, Council, Charles Baxter. Been there for 72 years. Real proud of our little city. The gentleman talking about Lake Crook, it's, the last 3 or 4 years has increased out there. And there's lots of activity on the weekends. And I'd like to see us, the Parks and Recreation, go ahead and take care of the south ramp. Because I personally go out there and mow it every once in a while because it's not part of their area. If they could come around, just mow around the ramp and where the walk area is down to the pier, or the little ramp we have to get in and out of the boats. If they could fix that, because it's got holes in it, sinks, and it's designed to be taken out and new ones put in. But it seems like, and that's where all the skiers, jet skiers load and unload. If we could keep that cut down and look good.
I appreciate
And
it.
the fishermen would really like y'all to fix the lights out there, both ramps.
Just want to make sure, is there anything regarding this item, though? There's public hearings only for this item. but
Oh, I know that.
Totally noted, though.
Because
I wanted to
he
grant you
brought
that
up Lake
little
Crook is
extra
the only
time.
reason I got up here. So Lake Crook is part of it, okay?
go.
And y'all are talking about the income Lake Crook brings.
Yes, sir.
So let's keep it pretty out there for them, keep the lights on for them at both ramps. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Anyone else regarding this item with manufactured homes? All right, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing on this. Council, I'll go ahead and open up the floor for anyone that has a motion for this item.
I'd make the motion that we amend the ordinance the zoning ordinance number 1710, and I'm not reading all of that.
I hear that motion. Is there a second? Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, sir. All right. We will now move on to agenda item number 21. Discuss and act on a resolution approving a residential tax abatement and economic development agreement with Kyle Thomas as part of the 5-and-5 housing infill redevelopment program for LCAD number 15451, City of Paris, Block 96, Lot 6, 848 Street Northwest.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Armomensa.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. This is the regular tax abatement agreement with applicant Kyle, and he's proposing to put up one single-family home at the location, and estimated cost is about $230,000. All required regulations and tax abatement postings for the 30-day requirement has been met, and we are requesting that you approve this application. This property is also a city trustee property, and so that's what is before you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, any questions that we have for Mr. Armomensa?
What street is that? It says 848 Street. What street is that?
It's on, it crosses.
It's 848 4th Street Northwest.
4th Street, okay.
4th Street, Northwest.
And the agreement is in the name of his LLC, which is just 848 4th Street.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I'll hear a motion.
I make a motion that we approve item 21.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Agenda item number 22, consider and approve future events for the city council and/or city staff pursuant to resolution number 2004-081. Council, anyone have anything? All right. Well, then we will just go ahead and move on to agenda item number 23, adjournment.
So moved.
All right, we got a motion. Do I hear a second? Second. All right. All those in agreement, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0.
You need a roll call vote?